Under what conditions would you be willing to terminate your child's life? Medical, moderate, political, financial? Hello, my name is Caden Pendola, and today I will be talking about the issue of abortion, specifically on why you should adopt a medical moderate position. So you may be wondering, why is this relevant to me? Well, someone you know, your family member, at some point in their life, they will probably become pregnant, and therefore, abortion rights and abortion laws will directly affect their livelihood and how they will become pregnant. And so it is important to not only understand how these abortion laws affect them, but also how they might change in the future and how you might be able to change them for the better. So, what exactly is an abortion? Well, the American Medical Association defines abortion as a safe, common procedure done to terminate a pregnancy under the guise of the patient's needs and the physician's best judgment. So, there are many reasons why a woman may seek an abortion. A research article called Understanding Why Women Seek Abortion in the U.S. Highlights some common reasons, specifically that they do not want or are not ready for pregnancy. They are having a medical emergency. They have relationship or social issues. They're having financial issues, or the timing just isn't right. Okay, so out of all of those issues, I only believe that one of them is ethically and morally justifiable, and that is the medical emergency scenario. So, throughout my speech, I'm going to highlight how abortion or the killing of a baby is equivalent to killing a life and therefore unethical, how pro life policy and legislation is currently too restrictive and causes chaos and damage in the healthcare system, and ultimately how a moderate medical solution will fix these two sides' problems and create a better society. Okay, so firstly, according to a research article, a research survey, a scientific consensus of when human life begins, 96% of biologists agree that human life begins at the fertilization of the egg, also known as conception. So this is important because this means that throughout all stages of the pregnancy, that embryo, that fetus, is a human life. And so by using an abortion or killing that embryo or fetus, you are effectively killing a human life, which is ethically and universally seen as a moral issue. Furthermore, because that embryo is a human life, it also has rights. That includes the right to life. And so by using an abortion, you're disregarding that right to life. Furthermore, because you're essentially killing a human life using an abortion, it is extremely hard to justify using an abortion outside of a medical emergency, and so that is why I believe it should still be limited in its capacity. So, we've established that abortions are not perfect. They have their negatives, but they can also be positive if used in the right scenario. So, for my second point, I want to highlight how the current pro life policy and legislation is too intense and restrictive, which causes issues specifically in the legal realm. Specifically in states like Oklahoma and Texas, where abortions are completely banned, but actually they do have exceptions, specifically in medical emergencies. However, those exceptions are not good enough, and they are unclear and ambiguous, leading to damages in the healthcare. In Texas specifically, the Texas Supreme Court rejects call to clarify exceptions to the abortion ban, says this Texas State Court report. The article indicates how Texas legislators keep the wording ambiguous, specifically about abortion, which causes unintentional death, damage, and chaos within the medical healthcare field. This is important because we live in Texas and Oklahoma, and people are dying because physicians are unable to act quickly and efficiently enough to provide that life-saving treatment. The law specifically allows exceptions for abortion in the case of imminent death, but by that point, the physicians are unable to do anything, and so they usually they send the patients away, and they end up in critical condition and dying, which is a loss of life, and that's not good enough for that's not the standard of care that we need in the U.S. It's also unethical, and so we need a clear exception that allows for a medical intervention to help these patients in need. Okay, and so now that we see that the pro-life and pro-choice sides have issues, we can move on to how they might be solved. So my third point is that a medical moderate position helps solve these two problems. Medical moderate position is keeps those restrictions in place for the social issues like financial or relationship issues, but still allows for abortions in the case of medical emergencies. Um, this is good because it protects those fetal rights and life, but also acknowledges the woman's need for care and humanity as well. And so it's very important that we have this solution because it's a compromise of both sides. It acknowledges both values. It's also more feasible. A 2025 Gallup survey indicates that a majority of Americans are in favor of restrictions on abortion, but still having it be illegal in most cases. So it's more feasible, it's more practical, and more people are accepting. Overall, a moderate medical approach enables women's health to be acknowledged while also uplifting fetal life, which is important for ethical and societal standard of care. It also protects both the humanity of the mother and the child, which is very important. And it shows cases how abortions can both be a positive and a negative. Ultimately, a moderate medical position will help change society, and resolve this divisive topic of abortion and help America become a better society for all. So, for the questions now, I got what are some stakeholders and how does abortion affect them? So, some stakeholders are the pro choice group, the pro life group, and parents and physicians. So the pro-choice group, like Amnesty.org and Planned Parenthood, and pro-life group, like the Catholic Church and Americans United for Life, uh, they are focused on creating a culture, and it's very political. And so abortion is very important in how they structure society. And then for parents, they're expecting a child, and so abortion rights directly affect them and determine how they might live, if they're able to get treatment for complications. And so it's very important for them and physicians. It determines how well they are able to provide care and in what scenarios that it's legal. Another question is, do you think compromise is possible when this situation is so divisive? I do think it's possible, specifically because abortion is a matter of life and death, and because people want to save other people and make sure that other people live good lives. I think they'll be willing to compromise their values or their beliefs in order to protect them and create a better, safer system. And lastly, another question is, specifically when creating Oklahoma and Texas laws to create clear laws, how will you do that? I think giving the power to a neutral third party like the physicians who understand the medical needs, the medical knowledge, will provide a safe and fair scenario which will allow for abortions to be performed in the case of medical emergencies, which will protect fetal life and maternal life while keeping those restrictions in place for other scenarios? Thank you for the questions.